On November 21st, 1967, my grandfather died. I was 8 years old, and it was my fault. I will never forget that night as long as I live. As a matter of fact, it's as clear to me today as it was back then. I woke up out of a dead sleep, hearing my grandmother pounding on the garage door window. "Lee, come quick! Something's wrong with Jim. I don't know what's happening." And I hear my dad upstairs run down the stairs, and I can see him pulling on his shirt as he runs. And he's yelling to my mother, "Call the ambulance." This was way before 911. "Call an ambulance." And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? And as my mother runs down the stair, I said, "Mom, what's going on? What's going on?" She said, "I don't know, sweetheart, I don't know." And I said, "Is he going to be okay?" He was my best friend, and I thought, is he going to be okay? What am I going to do? And I thought, I know what to do. I can pray. I can pray because I know that I'm special, and I know that I have a special relationship with God, and He will answer my prayers. So I knelt in the middle of my bed, and this brings tears to my eyes every time I think about it, because that wounded little girl, and I'm just praying as hard as I can, please God, don't let my grandfather die. Make him whole. Make him as whole as you can. Please God, don't let him die. I can't live without him. Not long afterwards, just a few short minutes, my father came back home. It was the first time I had ever seen him cry, and he was absolutely devastated. The fear and the terror from my grandmother had stuck in my body. I'm an empath. And the fear and the terror and the uncertainty and the horror of what was happening embedded itself in my body. And when my father came into the room, into the house, he was sitting on the hearth in our living room, and the grief and the failure of being able to save him again lodged directly in my body and my heart. And in that moment, I knew that I was responsible for his death. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't special. I was nothing. God didn't love me. And I lost my religion. I lost my family. I lost my God. And I lost myself. And I thought, I can never tell anybody what I've done. I'm responsible for the death of someone. How can I possibly tell anybody what's happened? And I just shut this dark secret away, and I quit feeling as much as I could. It meant shutting off who I was to the extent that by the time I was in my mid-20s, I had developed an autoimmune disease, complete negation of self. My children were 4 and 7 years old, and I literally woke up and couldn't walk. And I could tell you one story after another, but we don't have the time. Several years later, it had gotten to the point where I was basically bedridden, and I was bedridden for almost 2 full years. And I remember my children coming in the morning. My husband would take them in to go to school, and they'd come in and they'd say, "Mom, we're going to school now." And my youngest daughter would say, "Will you be here when we get back?" It wasn't, "Are you going to be home?" It's, "Are you going to be alive?" I weighed a whole 100 pounds. I know that's a little tough to believe today. But I was a very sick person. I had literally shut off my life essence because of the fear, the terror, and the grief that I could not process. And I remember one day lying there saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't leave, can't get out, don't know what to do. God, I have done everything I know how to do. You need to point, because I have no idea what I'm doing here. Either take me now or fix this, because I can't do it. And the depth of despair and grief that I was feeling and victimization was so profound. And the answer came a few short months later in the form of a small child. This child was my nephew. He was born to my sister, and he was a very miraculous child. She had a birth plan, going to go to a midwife, and we'll have a home birth, and we'll call it good. And the last second, he turned around and came breech. Blew that one out of the water, which was a miracle because Daniel actually was born with something called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which means the left half of his heart didn't develop. Had he had a home birth, he wouldn't have lived more than a week. She called me and she said, "Something's wrong with Daniel." I thought, "Are you kidding me?" She said, "No, the left half of his heart didn't develop." And I said, "I'll be there in a minute." She was living in Las Vegas. And I got there and I said, "What are you going to do?" And she said, "We found a doctor in Philadelphia. The insurance companies will pay for everything. All we need is the air ambulance because they won't pay for it." And I said, "Cool, how much is that?" $16,000, and they want cash before you take off. Oh, well, just let me write a check for that one. I'd been on disability for so many years, I didn't have 5 cents to rub together. And I thought, we're in Las Vegas. How hard can it be to find $16,000? There are billions of dollars that run through this town. How hard could it be? Well, it turns out it was kind of hard. It was actually very hard. I spent days, a couple of days on the phone, and I kept hearing, "Call Social Security." Well, long story short, he was born on a Monday in August, and on Friday, as the clock is ticking, my dad said to my sister, "There's nothing we can do without paperwork. Let's go down to the hospital." The social worker said she'll help. And as they walk out the door, he turned around and he said, "Get on the phone, start making some more calls, and if all else fails, call the governor's office." Okay. I am the phone terrorist. I am a warrior supreme on the phone. And I thought, start at the bottom? Are you kidding? You always start at the top. Who is the governor of Nevada? And the second thought was, it doesn't matter because they always answer, "Hello, Governor so-and-so's office." You know, to this day, I don't know who the governor is. But a miracle happened that day that I was a part of that absolutely changed my life, absolutely changed the trajectory in such a profound way. When I called, the receptionist answered, and she said, "Governor so-and-so's office." Again, don't know the governor's name. Sorry, Governor. And I explained what was happening, and she said, "Let me put you in touch with Bob Wilden." Okay. And I thought, here's the blow-off, you know. She said, "He'll call you back." Of course he's going to call me back. Who am I? Snort of derision. And she said, 15 minutes later, he calls and he said, "Hi, this is Bob Wilden from the governor's office. How can I help you?" So I explained what had happened. He said, "Oh, well, give me a few minutes and I'll call you back." And I thought, blow-off number 2, whatever. True to his word, he calls me back. And he said, "Okay, we're going to work together on this." And as he said that, time literally shifted. And it was as if I were enveloped in something. I still don't know the name for it, but it was a flow that I had never, ever experienced. Sorry. It was as if time stopped. That was at 10 o'clock in the morning. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we had marshaled state, local, federal, governmental offices on a Friday in the middle of summer, thank you very much, 2 hospitals, and a private air ambulance. I had the Social Security Administration call me on a Saturday morning to give me this child's Social Security number. They took off, and he had a surgery, and it was so successful. And I thought, if I can do this for a small child, I am so not a victim, and I'm going to find answers for myself. When I got home, I started looking for answers. And I went into counseling, started a whole search. And what I've come up with is based on the years and years and years of research and transformation that I've made in myself. The processes that I have learned have literally transformed my own body. And what I would like to do with you today is based on some scientific discovery. I don't have my little clicker. Clicker, clicker. I need my PowerPoint, please. Basically, Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about the cells of the body being little microcomputer chips. And every thought, every feeling, every belief, everything in our environment programs our bodies. Being an empath, everything profoundly affected who I am. So what I would like to do with you, if I have permission, since I don't have a power slide, I'm good. I would like to do a transformation process with you. I'd like to show you this. Would that be okay with you all? Do I have your permission? What I want you to do is drop into I call Divine Core Center, and it's this area in here. This is your power center. This is your connection with your highest self. It's your connection with who you are, and it's your connection with God or Source or the universe, whatever your belief system is. And I want you to drop down in there, close your eyes for just a moment, and breathe. Perfect. And as you open your eyes, I want you to keep your focus here, and I want you to take the words that I say into your physical bodies, and we're going to clear fear. Fear has been a profound theme in this whole event today. And I'm shorting out the electronics. So, clear fear and everything it represents. Clear fears need to be in me. Clear my need to have fear and everything it represents in me. Break resonance with fear and everything it represents. Break and clear the habit and or addiction of fear and everything it represents. Then please apply the highest, most powerful quantum source light clearing statements that will fully and completely clear and remove fear and everything it represents throughout my body, my energy bodies and me, all my systems, my ego and all its systems, my mitochondria, all their generations and all their systems, all of my generations and all of their systems, my proteins, environments, associations, and entanglements, my personal and the collective consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness, all personal, planetary, and universal core operating systems, all my interfaces and connections to all of those systems, and how it's affecting me in any way, shape, or form, time, place, or space, at all levels, layers, and depths of my being. And again, for time's sake, we are going to shorten this like crazy. So we are going to ask for a full forgiveness statement, a quantum source light forgiveness statement to clear fear and everything it represents. Make sure we are cleared at all levels, layers, and depths of our being. And then we're going to final clear this out now. So when I get done with this, I want you all to repeat, final clear it now. Clear fear and everything it represents from my body, my energy bodies, and me, all my systems, at all levels, layers, and depths of my being. Final clear it now. Now, do you know how to muscle test at all? Let's see at what level we have cleared fear. Have we cleared fear completely? What are you getting? You got to know? Okay. What do you get? Strong? What do you get? Good, strong. Excellent. Excellent. You got a strong too? Okay. This process literally changed my life. What we're going to do now is begin this third part of this phase, or third part of this process, and this is the download, replacing fear with something else, because nature absolutely abhors a vacuum. So what do we want in the place of fear? How about love, transformation, joy, gratitude, abundance, oneness, communion, anticipation, excitement, self-love, self-worth, self-knowing. What else would you like to download for yourselves? Please do that now. And let's download any other quantum source light frequency that may not have been said, but that is needed in any and all languages. Please download, infuse, implement, and integrate all of these new frequencies and everything they represent. Clear and remove all old limiting patterns and programs, and replace with all of these new frequencies and everything they represent at all levels, layers, and depths of our being. Feel that old move out, and the new move in. That's a sweet feeling, isn't it? Then activate, synchronize, harmonize, and optimize all of these new frequencies and everything they represent. Please integrate and anchor them in at all levels, layers, and depths of my being. Then please apply them all as functional skill sets. Tell me how you feel. Great. I had an epiphany while many of our speakers were speaking. I would like to share what you're feeling right now, this joy, this centeredness. I call it the universal explosion of joy and transformation. And I believe that by sharing this with everyone we know, and they share it with everyone we know, in 30 days we can actually reach 1 billion people. Greg Habstrat said 1,000 people who affect 1,000 people who affect yet another 1,000 people, and all of their mailing lists, we can affect change in 1 billion people, and I believe we can do it. I'm Michelle Manning Kogler. I am the author of Quantum Soul Clearing, Healing the Scars Life Leaves on the Soul, and I am starting a movement of change for the universal expansion of joy and love. Thank you.